Next week, we may talk on uh, Park 1. Yeah. So till here, I think I have covered everything, including protection, what if analysis. In the last week, I have covered these two topics. Today, let me give you all the introduction to the macros. I'm sure you might have heard about a word called macros by this time. What do you mean by the macro? If any of the program execute based on the lines of the code, that's a macro. You can automate the job using the macros. So the next level of the macros is writing a code in the VBA, as simple as it. Okay, so today I'll try to give you as much as possible relating to the macros. Don't expect the expert level knowledge from today's session because VBA is entirely a different topic altogether. So if you want me to speak on the VBA and if you want to get in the same level of knowledge, then you may have the same time because yeah, it will take the same time, right? So in today's session, I'll try to cover introduction. Don't worry, even in the introduction, you can learn many of the things. Normally, VBA is a programming language for which you need to spend a lot of effort. But in today's session, we will concentrate more on recording a macro. If you're recording a macro, and at least if you want to go back and look into the uh, code, then probably you will have little habituate. Maybe you can accustom with the code. Maybe later when you start, learning about the VB, then that may looks very simple to you. So let me go to my Excel. This was the first blank Excel. So let me open the file. The very first important thing you must understand, I covered this actually on the first day. XLSX is basically macro-free Excel workbook. Macro-free workbook. When you want to input a macro-enabled workbook is nothing but Excel SM. The difference between Excel SM and Excel AM is it's an add-in file. Basically, it's not an Excel file. It is just an add-in file. Okay. If you want to say, if I want to save the macro, then I am going to select instead of XLSX, I'm going to select XLSM, as simple as it. Okay, so first let me save this file F12, not just XLSX but XLSM. Not here. Let me take into the Visual branch Excel workshop. Let me go to the 23rd session and let me have here introduction to macro. Introduction to macros. No problem. First, let us try to understand what is macro. Macro is basically, let me take in this way, you can understand better. First, let me explain you what is SOP. SOP means standard operating procedure. I'm sure many company follows SOP. SOP is basically, let's say if I join in the company, now my boss has allocated me a work that is nothing but filing income tax returns. I am only the person knowing about this process. Things are going very well. Suddenly, after 3 months, when the entire process got settled down and everything, I went to my boss cabin and I said, boss, I want to resign this organization. He said, why? No, I don't want to tell you the reason, but I want to resign this organization. Because obviously, right, if employee want to resign, he can resign. Then he immediately asked him, okay, if you want to resign, you can do that, but please serve the notice period of 60 days or 90 days, whatever the case may be. He said, please go to hell. I'm not going to serve even the single day. I'll leave the organization today itself. I'll not even give you the time to recruit one more fellow and to give the training to that fellow. Okay, if this fellow resigns and he is not coming back, then who is going to do that process of filing income tax return? That's the reason, without impacting the process in the organizations, they always have a concept called standard operating procedure. They have a backup policy. The SOP is something. I'll just share my experience of creating SOP. Maybe it is different from organization to organization, but overall objective of the SOP is same. SOP means when I know the process, I must be in a position to put everything on the paper, right? It's not something where you are going to just keep the headings of the process, what you are doing. Every minute point I need to put into the SOP. That's the reason in the organizations, even if it is a small process, if you look into the SOP, that may run into the tens of pages because they explain in detail every minute point based on the volatility of the process. They review the SOP once in a year, or once in 6 months, or once in 2 years, and so on. If SOP is there, even you resign the organization, if any new person comes, if we give the SOP to him, he must be in a position to perform at least 60 to 70% of the job without asking any question. That is what the intention of the SOP. The new person, if he read it, he must be in a position to understand. Okay, so SOP, if how elaborate you write the SOP, that much elaborate the other person without even having a knowledge can perform. Why I'm talking entirely about the SOP, though my topic is not about standard operating procedure, because if you ask me, macro is exactly equal to an SOP. In SOP, we write on the paper, but macro, we write at the back end in the Visual Basic Editor. You have to write manually on the paper, but here Excel itself writes at the back end. Okay, so how in the SOP, once you prepare, if you give this SOP to the other person, how he can perform the job? Here, once you record a macro, once I start recording a macro, Excel is also writing an SOP at the back end. At the back end, Excel take pen and paper and it start every minute point what I am doing in my Excel. Next time, whenever you want to execute that SOP, because it is after all a system, so it works faster because of the capacity it is having. So it just does the job within fraction of seconds. But in a manual way, you may need to manually perform the job. So macro is basically a small SOP at the back end. Basically, even in Excel, writing a code is two types. Writing code is two types. One by recording a macro, two by writing code in Visual Basic Editor, VBE. I'm going to use a couple of words here, VB, VBA, and VB. Okay, user forms, modules, right? Okay, these all are the ones which I'm using here. So macros and so on. Visual Basic Editor, this is Visual Basic Editor. This is Visual Basic for applications. This is a Visual Basic, which is a language. User forms are the one what you see. When I go to the sort, I got a user form. When I go to find, I got a user form. Everything is a user form. So, which interacts with the user. When it comes to the module, code will be stored in the module. Macro is nothing but a piece of program, a line of, okay, or else an automation for a task. This is the macro, right? I was telling you If you want to write an SOP at the backend, there are two ways you can write the SOP. You can see at the backend where you can write the program. You go to the place, then you can start writing the code in the Visual Basic application. Okay, in the Visual Basic language. The second one is, if you're not good with the coding, you can ask Excel. Excel, you please get up. I'm going to do a couple of activities now. While I'm doing the activities, please have a keen observation and write the code on your own. So based on the steps what you are doing at the back end, it's going to write the code. Next time when you ask Excel to perform the code, all the lines of the codes will perform sequentially. As simple as it. We will take a very basic example. How to record the macro. That's the first thing. There are many ways you can record the macro. You can go to the developer tab, then you can click the record macro. You can go to the view tab. You can go to the macros drop down. You can just click record macro. Otherwise, on the taskbar, you can just click here a button called record macro. Any of these things are fine. It's not about knowing the procedure. In this case, there are many ways, right? Any of the method you can follow. That's fine. But friends, while I am recording the macro, let me click this record macro. There are many things it is asking me. Okay, so let me tell you, my way is view tab. Okay, then macros drop down. Then in that record macro. This is one way. Second way is developer tab. Then in the macros group, is it macros or code? It's a code group, right? So code group, then in that record macro. Otherwise, from taskbar icon, are you finding here? There is an icon. This is the icon I'm talking about. If I go here, this is the first method. This is the second navigation. This is the third navigation. Okay. You can go to anything. Now let us try to understand better. Let me click the record macro. I just would like to take the snap of it to explain you each and every item of this. When I just click this, okay, so you will find, okay, so let me just go here and paste Control V. Yeah, check it out. Macro name is the unique name. Macro name must be unique. Unique to identify the code. In case of SOPs, every SOP having its own title, right? That is what exactly we have. Shortcut is very important. Shortcut is to execute the macro. But here are a couple of things you need to understand. The shortcut has to start with control, right? So at least control plus has to be there. Now, if that is the case, friends, let me ask you the question. Control plus C. Can I keep this as shortcut of the macro? Is it possible? Is it possible? Can you answer in the chat box? Anyone in the class? Do you think I can use Control plus C? Of course I can, right? That's possible. That is possible. But if it is possible, later when after recording the macro, if I do Control C, then whether macro will run or copy will happen. After recorded the macro, understand very important aspects I'm covering. After recorded the macro, if we use Control plus C, then what will happen? Will macro execute? Or copy? Tell me anyone. Tell me the answer for this. Only when the Excel assembly is open, backend program. I didn't get a question. Uh, okay. Copy button. All right. Yeah, absolutely, you are correct. Use this will be, yeah. So when macro execute, in this case, it executes the macro. Okay, so let me put it executes the macro. That means macro shortcut overrides writes the general shortcut. You must be very careful while giving a shortcut to the macro, right? So this is the meaning of shortcut. So it's always a good practice. So the good practice is use the control plus shift combination, right? So that control with shift, you will be having very general shortcuts. The third one is store in. What is the meaning of it? Macro can be stored in three different places. One, in this Excel workbook. In this Excel workbook. Two, in the new Excel workbook. Self-explanatory. Three, in the personal Excel workbook. In the personal Excel workbook. I'll just give you 2 minutes time. Everyone please go either to view tab or go to the developer tab. Then you can just start recording a small sample macro. Then you try to understand the meaning of these three. Anyway, I'm going to explain to you. But I request you first you go and understand what exactly the meaning of it. When you select this, what is happening? When you select this, what is happening? And when you select this, what is happening? So from the observation, whatever you learn, I think that is most effective. So anyway, I'm going to explain this. I'll just give you 2 minutes. Don't browse in the Google. I just ask you to look into the drop down of all the three methods to store in, select each method and record a macro, then see what exactly it is doing. 2 minutes, quickly. Done anyone? Yeah, Mr. Prasuk, I just started with macro. Just hold your question. Maybe once I slowly go towards the macros, little elaborate, maybe you can get the answer on your own. Okay. So let me explain you. I think these all three are self-explanatory. In this workbook means whatever the macro we write, that will get stored in this file. If we record macro, the code will be stored in this Excel, right? So if the second one in the new Excel workbook, if we record the macro, the code will be stored in the new Excel workbook, which will be opened automatically, right? The third one is the most important. In the personal Excel workbook, this if we record macro, if we record a macro, the code will be stored in the new Excel workbook. New Excel workbook names personal. The advantage of storing in the personal you will get to know. Okay, first try to understand. If I just save in this Excel, it will get stored. Otherwise, it will open a new Excel. Otherwise, it will also open a new Excel, but the name of the new Excel will be personal. Now, friends, what I do, let's say I recorded a small macro. Then choose this workbook, recording activity in the same Excel. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Even you can select any option, but you can record in the same active file. Selvamudu. Yeah. So now, let's say there is a file called Excel, file Excel, macro called P, right? There is a this macro can be executed in the file, can be executed in file Excel anytime, because this macro belongs to this file. Since this macro belongs to this file, you can use this macro n number of times in this file whenever you want. For example, my question is now we closed file Excel. We have opened new file called concentrate, file Y. Now my question, can we execute the macro P in file Y? Is it possible? Is this possible? Can anyone put in the chat box? Whatever the limited knowledge you have, the answer is no. Why? Because we have closed the file Excel. Now we have opened both file X and file Y. Now my question is, can we execute the macro P in file Y now? Is it possible? Is this possible? Yes, now it is possible. Now it is possible. Now the rule you can understand from this is, if we open a file, the macros in that file can be executed with any file which opened, right? Once you open a file, the macro is no more belongs to that file. The macro belongs to every file which got opened. But once you close the file, of course, you can't, right? But friends, if we store a file, concentrate. If we store a macro in personal Excel, in personal workbook, one Excel will be opened with the name called personal, concentrate. That is what I have already covered, right? But friends, you need to understand this personal Excel workbook is by default stored. Where? Is by default stored in the Excel start folder. What is Excel start folder? What is Excel start folder? If we keep any files in this folder, whenever we start Excel, all the files in this folder will open automatically. That's the meaning of Excel start folder. Now you can correlate. Now, because I'm storing in the personal Excel workbook by default store in the Excel start folder. Whenever I open an Excel workbook with that, by default, one more file will get open called personal. But do you think the personal is hide? Yes. The personal Excel workbook, the personal Excel workbook is by default hidden. You can't find that file. Now, in nutshell, my point is, if you store the macro in the personal Excel workbook, because personal Excel by default store in the Excel start folder, because Excel start folder can open all the files once you run the Excel, then automatically this file also got opened at the back end. Because this file got opened, you can use the macro which got stored in the personal in any of the Excel file. But if you go to any YouTube video or article, they simply say that if you want to use the macro in every file, then you please store it in personal. That's what they say. But the logic behind is exactly this. We'll take a small demonstration. Don't worry. I'm just giving you the theory. Once you understand the logical part of it, then anything you can do it. Okay. That is what store in. Description is basically when you have so many macros, you must identify which macro does what based on the description. This is what about record a macro pop-up. Now what I do, I will record the first macro. What I go here, I'll go to the macro, I just click record macro. You can give the name of the macro. Let me give the name as a sample one. Do you want to give the shortcut for this macro? Yes. If you want, you can give Control C. But as I said, if I give Control C, that overwrites my earlier macro, earlier shortcut. So let me use with Shift A. If I do Control Shift plus A, very few combination of general shortcuts are there. So this is fine. If I click OK, for the time being, let me store in this Excel workbook only. Let me click OK. It is recording the macro. If you go here at the backend, stop recording. If you go here, stop recording. If you go to the developer tab, stop recording. When it is saying stop recording, that means it is already started recording. Simple. Now what Excel does, what it is recording, is it recording my voice also? Let us all call Excel, hi Excel. Do you think you are recording my voice? You can't ask like that. Because Excel records the keystrokes. What you do, that means, let's say I moved my cursor here. Probably Excel might have recorded at the back end. Sharon has moved from A1 cell to F5 cell. If I move here, Excel will record. If I move here, Excel will record. If I move here, every minute step what you do in MS Excel, it records everything. Right? Now what I do, let me keep the cursor here. Let me zoom a little in. Okay, so let me slowly zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. Let me make it 0. But Sharon, what you have done, you're playing with Excel. Okay, don't worry, you will get to know. Okay, so what I'll be doing, let me stop recording. If you want to execute the macro now, you can go to the macros. Because already sample 1 is there, you can run it. Otherwise, for which already there is a shortcut called Control plus Shift plus A. Now let me go to the macros, sample 1. If I run this macro, do you think what will happen? My Excel will be zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. Take it out. Wow, everything happened in fraction of seconds. But for this purpose, you should not use macros. Okay, for this purpose, you should not use macros. What Excel did, when I just made zoom in, zoom out with the different steps with the mouse, it recorded every minute step. Now, friends, where is the code? If I want to see the code, is it possible? Now I can select the sample one. Let me run. Same zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. Can I see this code? Possible. You can just go to the Visual Basic. Let me tell you, one Visual Basic for one Excel, that's a wrong statement. VBE, okay. one VB for 10 Excels for all open Excel files. But Sharon, how can in one VBA I can put all the files content? Don't worry. If you go to the VBA, you can find here the projects. Everything is a project, right? There are two Excel files which got opened. One is introduction to the macros. The other one is the personal. As I already told you, in my Excel, there is already one macro I recorded long back and I stored in the personal. Of course, if you want, you can even record the same. Okay, so now let me go here. Now in this, are you finding the objects? Objects are nothing but all the sheets, all the entire workbook and modules inside. These all we call it as a objects. I'm not going much detail into the concept of VBA, but just for your understanding, I'm just giving you a little introduction. And if whatever I have recorded, that will be stored into the module. And by default, it has taken a name as a module 1. Now, friends, let me tell you, every sub procedure starts with a word called sub. If you understand, if you look here, there are 3 colors you can find. One is the blue color, the second one is the black color, and the third one is the green color. There are 3 color icon, 3 color font you can find here. One more color can be red also. Okay, whenever I can make it, you will find the red. When I start executing this program, it's going to stop me. Ideally, it's going to stop here with a red alert. So there are basically 4. Okay, let me just go here. Let me go to edit format. If anything goes wrong, 1 second. Notify before state loss. Okay, that's fine. So there are 3 items here. Now what I'll be doing, I'll just go here. I can simply take this correctly back. Now let me go back to my Excel because this coloring is very important. In code, we can find 3 colors, actually 4 colors. One, the black color or whatever the color, this indicates the code. Blue color indicates the keywords. Then green color indicates the comments. Then fourth one, red color indicates the error in the code. As of now, I'm finding 3, that's fine. This is black color, so it's a code. This is the blue color, and this is the black color. It's a name. So if you see, this is a blue color. If you see option explicit is blue color. What is the meaning of this? This is a comment. How can Excel understand this as a comment? Because we kept a single quote. If I remove the single quote, then Excel will understand this also as a program. If it is not a valid program, Excel gonna give the error. But if, for example, if I keep this everything, if I keep everything into the comment, you know where you can have the comment, you can just go to any of the block, you can just put it as a comment. Are you finding here? This is giving a comment. Click this. Once I click it, are you finding here a single quotes came for every line? If I remove the single quote, you can do this. What is an advantage of single quote? This becomes a comment. What do you mean by comment? When it is a comment, Excel cannot execute those lines of the code. So when I start executing this code, it will first go to this, then it will immediately come to this. It ignores everything. That means when comments are there, I can make my code more self-explanatory. If the code is 4 line items, 5 line items, there is no problem. But when the code is hundreds of line items, without having any document for that, it's going to be very difficult for us to understand. That's the reason you can put in between the coding. So for example, you can just go here, the coding for this is actually, this code is to select A1 cell. Hey, Do you think this is a code? No, because I kept a single code. This becomes a comment, so there's no problem. This code, uh, zoom the window, zoom the window with 110%, right? So when I kept that, it turned into the green color. Now you can understand when I have hundreds of line item of the code, I am going to keep the comments so that even after, well, let's say 1 year, when I go back and try to see what I have written, these comments may help me out. Okay, so these all are the small things. I'm just giving you the demonstration at the back end in the VBA, how it looks like. Friends, when you write a code in the module, that means this code you can use throughout Excel, even throughout outside of Excel also. That means you will open this file, you can open any other Excel, you can run the same code there. Only provided if you keep into the module. But is it possible without even keeping into the module? Yes. We call those as we call all those as the events. If you double click this, still you got a code or space. If you double click sheet 4, still you got this, still you got this, and so on. But Sharon, what will happen if I write the code in sheet 1? That means this code will be belongs to only sheet 1. You can't run this code in sheet 2. If I click this and write the code, this code is only belongs to this Excel workbook. Friends, we call them as an events. That means in workbook, I can have n number of events. Let me select this workbook. Now, automatically there is a private sub which happened because it's an event. When Excel workbook open, what must happen? That's an event. So when Excel open, what should happen? I want to run another macro, right? That's possible. So in this case, I want to put, message box, MSG box, as welcome you all to the workshop on bank audit. It's very simple. MSG box. If I enter MSG box is a function, so message box you can keep the message because message is a text I kept in the double quotation. Now let me save this. Now what I do as a sample I did, right? Let me close this Excel file. Now when I just go to my folder, let me go to 23rd. Once I open this file, do you think I'll get a pop-up message stating that yeah, wow. Welcome you all to the workshop on bank audit possible. Now you can think the vulnerable part of this code. See, I've just written, welcome you all to the workshop. Instead, if I call a program, what is the name of this module? Module 1, right? So if we put module 1, what Excel do? If I put call and module 1, if you observe call turned into the blue color because as per the VBA, call having its own meaning. Now let me just save this. Now let me just go here. Now let me just close this. Okay, now I'll just open this file. Let us see what will happen. Okay, what happened? So Excel is saying there is an expected variable or procedure not module. So it is trying to show an error because when you're trying to call this, Excel is saying, Mr. Saran, that you need to keep it as a variable. I'm not going to take you that deeper into what is the variable and so on. But as you all don't know, because I already covered the let function in MS Excel, variable is something where you can store the value. Okay. Now let me remove this. I don't want this. Store this. Now you can just put F9 that will get ignored. Okay. So my point is when I can call any of the module, now I can write a small line of the code that Excel, could you please go to a particular website, download the virus and execute the virus in this Excel workbook. That means your events are very vulnerable because once I open, The program will run automatically without even your permission, right? That's the reason you always keep the macros disabled, because once you open the file, once it is in disabled position, that will not run automatically. Okay, so this is you can have so many events with respect to the workbook. I want to tell to the Excel, when I insert a sheet, what should happen? When I insert a chart, what should happen? When I deactivate it, what should happen? When I insert a pivot table, what will happen? When I select a sheet, what should happen? When I delete a sheet, what should happen? Before double click, what should happen? Before right click, what should happen? You can simply say that right click is not possible in this Excel. You can simply say that you can't double click in this Excel. You can simply say that this sheet can't be deleted. As simple as it. Okay, these all are the modules with respect to the workbook. When it comes to the worksheet, let us see what all other events will be there. Wow, check it out. When you activate the sheet, what should come? When you delete, before deletion the sheet, what should come? Before double click, what should come? Before you calculate, what should come? Before you change, and so on. When you are trying to change anything in a cell, what should come? These all are the events with respect to the worksheet. Okay, so anyway, for you it's not required. Whenever I keep something in the module, that means you can, this code is belongs to the entire Excel as well as outside Excel also. If you open this file, let me also tell you, in one Excel workbook you can record n number of macros. In one module you can record n number of sub procedure. Sub is a sub procedure. Okay, so let me just close this. Till here, anyone having any question? I have to go into the proper macro for recording. I'm just trying to give you small things so that when you start looking outside a blue color, maybe when you start looking outside a comment, you should not feel that that is something different. Okay, now I would like to record a small macro, one more. Friends, what I want to record, I'll just write 10, I'll write 20, I'll just keep it here. Okay, so let me go to developer tab. Let me go to developer tab, record a macro. This macro name is macro sample2, no problem. Control shift B, no problem. I want to store in the same Excel workbook. Let me click OK. It's recording. Now let me keep the cursor here 10. Then let me keep the cursor here 20, 30. Could you please tell me at the back end what Excel might have written? Anyone? Simple. Excel might have written as go to A1 cell. Then, or else it will not say go to, it will say select A1 cell. Then enter 10 in the selected cell. Excel will never be fast. Excel will not simply say that enter 10. Enter 10 where? In the selected cell. Because it's code, everything has to be very clean. Then select A2 cell. Then Excel writes at the back end, enter 20 in the selected cell. Selected cell is a variable. Earlier it was A1, now it is A2. So it's not a constant. Then again it will record a fifth step. Enter, sorry, select for fifth step, select A3 cell. Then what it might have recorded? Sixth step, enter 30 in the selected cell, right? Then it's not over. Then select A4 cell, because I kept my cursor after I entered this, I click enter, that my cursor came here. This, if I'm not wrong, these all are the 7 step at the back end, probably this macro might have written. So let me go to Visual Basic. See, now it has recorded in the module 2. If I'm not wrong, absolutely the 7 steps. Range A1 it has selected. Now in the active cell, it is asking you to write the formula 10. Range A2 it has selected. It is asking you to write the formula in A2 cell. Then A3 cell, I already told you, it will even write that, go to A4 and select. Friends, the problem with the Excel recording is exactly the same. This all you need not to you need not to do in this way. You can make it as a simplest way. You know how? That's the problem with recording the macro. If I directly start writing a code, I may be writing it much more simple. Let me make it as a sample three. You know what map code I can write here? I can simply put instead of A1, I'll just put A1 called A3. Then I don't want to select. Why should I select to enter the values? In coding at the backend, you need not to select every time to get the values. So what I can do, I want the value equal to, you can just put whatever you want. You can put 10. Okay. But I want the A1 is 10. Then A2 again must be 20. Just enter here. Just go here. Paste. Now it's 20. Let's go here. 20. Then see whatever he has done exactly. I'm doing the same thing. Okay, so let me copy this, then A3, then 30. Without moving from the cell. Wherever my cell, let the cell be there, no problem. But in this case, I want my value to kept in the A1 cell as 10. I want my value to keep it as A2 as 20, A3 as 30. But in this case, Excel will move from A1 to A2 to A3 to A4. In this case, Excel cell will not move because I'm only allocating a value but not selecting the value. Okay, now let me execute both the macros so that you will exactly get to know what I'm saying. Now, when I just keep this, when I keep the cursor here, now let's go to the macros. Let me keep it as a sample 2. Okay, sample 2 is the one which we recorded. Let me click run. Wow. Now your cursor was there in the A4, right? Now let me keep my cursor here. Now I'll go to the macros. Then I'll click sample 3, run. What happened? Is there any movement in my cursor? No, there is no movement because I'm directly allocating a value in this case without even moving. But in this case, I asked Excel to select the cells. So it go and physically select the cell, then only it will happen. If you have any question, please let me know. Friends, if you want to cross-check the procedure, there is a debugging we call. F8 is the shortcut. F8 is the shortcut to debug. Okay, so let me go to F8. F8 is to debug. Okay, debug feature helps the user to know the error code line item, and also at which step he went wrong. That is the way you can understand this F8. So what I'll be doing, I'll just go to this sheet. Let me delete this. I'll just keep I'll just open this Visual Basic. Now what I'll be doing, I'll just close this. I'll even close this. Let me make my Visual Basic smaller so that you can see both side by side. This is the way generally even I present when I start taking the sessions for Visual Basic, the corporate training, so that people will see both one after other. Now what I'll be doing, let me drag towards the right side so you can see both. I hope you can see both now, right? Great, great. Now friends. First one, let me run this code, sample 2. What is a way to run this code? F8 is the debug, F8. That means it is getting ready and telling to me, Mr. Saran, I'll start running the code from here. Now let me put F8 again. Saran, next one, I'm going to do this. So if Excel executes this code, check my cursor where it is, A1. Then Excel is going to write 10 in that cell. Wow. Now it will select A2. Now it's going to write 20. It will select A3. Now it's going to write 30. It will select A4. Now it ends. If you are not finding any yellow color, that means the SAP got end. Now let me keep my cursor here, same like earlier. Now let me keep my cursor here, F1, F8. It will go to the title of the code, F8. Now it's going to execute the first one. Check it out. This cell will not change, will not move, but it will be into the A1 cell. Let me put F8. 10 will be there in the A1 now. 20 will be there. 30 will be there. Stop. Wow. That's the way you need to see the code. My friends, maybe wherever you might have seen, you thought that Visual Basic is very difficult. Macro is very difficult. But if you start looking into the code, macro is not at all difficult. Macro is also very simple, but that is just a myth. Start recording small macros, go to the Visual Basic, see exactly Excel has written what, then you can slowly understand how Excel is doing. Okay, now friends, let me record another macro. Now let me record another macro. Concentrate everyone. Now what I'll be doing, why? Because of this Visual Basic also opened, these both are got opened. You can, whenever you do here an action, immediately a code will be written here. Check it out. Go here, I can make it as a sample for, let me have Control Shift D, enter. See, are you finding here? Most surprisingly, immediately it has given us a procedure. Friends, are you finding here two icons? Procedure view, full module view. When you click this, you're going to see the full module. When you click this, you will only see this procedure. I want to make it so visible for everyone. Let me only click that. Okay. Now what I do, I'll just go to my Excel. I just keep my cursor here. What it has written, A1. Then I move the cursor here, A3. Then I move the cursor, just take it out. What Excel is writing in the Visual Basic at the back end. Wow. Now what I do here, I just keep my cursor here. Then I will write the company. If I enter, what it will write? Select active cell dot form R1C1 write company. Then because it went into the A2, it has automatically selected A2 dot select. Now let me select B2. Let me write amount. Now what I want to write here, A, then I want to write B, I want to write C, I want to write D, E, F. Now, see, because I was actually here, I did Control Shift up, Control Shift down, Control Shift up, Control Shift down. You can see what are the program code lines it is writing. Check it out, everyone. Check it out. Control right arrow, control left arrow, control down arrow, control left arrow, control down arrow. Check it out. So it's going towards the right, towards the up, towards the stick. So for which the code it is writing is this much of code. Now what I'll be doing, I don't want this everything. So let me delete this. So yeah, let me show you exactly what is the code it is writing. When you are going towards the downside, then Excel is saying from the selection, go to the end, Excel up, then select that. Okay. Now from the selection, go to the end towards up, select that. Then from the selection, go to the end towards the down. So for up and down, it has given Excel up and Excel down is the code. Whereas towards the right side, it has given two right and two left. Okay, so the language to learn this, it will take little time for you. I know that, but just for the understanding, I'm covering here. Now let me keep the cursor here. It's B2. Now let me start writing. Let me select this. It has automatically taken B2 column B7 equal to rand between 100 to 1000. Once I close bracket, Control Shift Enter, Control plus Enter. Check it out what formula it has written. Wow, it has written in the selection, write the formula equal to rand between 100 to 1000. Wow. I want to copy this. So when I go back to my Excel, let me do copy. So what it has written, whatever the selection you selected, please copy that. Now I want to paste special as a value. So paste special as a value. This is the problem, another problem with the Microsoft Excel recording. It might have simply taken selection.paste special, paste as a values. It should have stopped here, but it has not just stopped there. It has written paste operation values, operation Excel none, skip blanks false, transpose false. You know from where it is trying to put all these. When you paste special, okay, when you go to Excel, when you do the paste special, now you can understand the language. Paste operation, it has taken Excel paste values is the code. Operation, that means in this operation, none. Then transpose, because it's a checkbox, right? When there is a checkbox, true or false. So it has written false, that means don't check. If it is skip blanks, false. This is what it has written. Okay. Now let me select this. Now bold. Now let me just keep the cursor in the A1. Now let me stop. It has written so many steps for me. Now, as I already mentioned, now let me just go to the next sheet. When you start running this code, do you think the code will get run? Absolutely. Wow. Within fraction of seconds. Within fraction of seconds. Now, let me do a couple of modifications in this code. Okay, so as I said, the recording a macro unnecessarily will give you so much of the code. Now, what I'll be doing, I'll just make it as a sample file. You tell me what I can change. I can just go here and I can just make it as value, right? It is asking you to put the dollar, okay, dot. So now this is not required. This is also the value, okay? So I can simply keep it value, right? So this is, let me just control C. Now these are all of the values. Why you need to go to that cell to paste a value? So value, I am just reducing the formula size. Value, this gonna be the value, right? This gonna be the value. Okay, so this is not required to me. So this you can delete it. Now you can just go here. This is also not required. This can be simply value and this can also be simply value. Now this is very important. Okay, you filled everything actually. So till A7 you fill the value. But range A7 dot select. Now this may be important because you want to go to the up. Okay, so this is just for the information because then again it went up, then again I have selected A8, right? So this code is not at all required. Now I can directly select B2 column B7, right? I can write this formula. Again, why should you select? You can simply put this, write the value in the B2 column B7. Now you can select, okay, that's fine. You can select it because anyway I need to copy because you can't simply copy this. Range dot you can do. So selection dot copy this fine. Then selection dot paste special. Why should I tell to the Excel I have not taken anything in the operation? I don't want the skip blank, that's false. I don't want the transpose. I can simply delete from here to here, right? Now it has taken range A1 column B1 dot select. Now it has given the font bold true. See, bold is true because if you go here, bold is a button. Once you click it, it's true. Once you click the same, it's false. False means it's not there, and true means it is applicable. As simple as. Finally, I want to select A1. Compare the codes now. This is the code of the earlier macro, whereas, check it out, this is the code of the earlier macro. How simple it is and how tough it is. But still, this and this both will run the same macro. Let me delete this, go here. Now, if I go and tell you, okay, run the macro, go to the developer, go here, I'm sorry, go to the developer, go to the macros. I want to take the sample file. Let me run. Wow, same thing, right? So now I hope you understood by observing the macro code. In fact, while recording this macro, I have even shown you how it is appearing, as simple as it. Okay, if you have any question, please let me know till here. Anyone having any question, please let me know. Okay, any questions here? Let me read out the questions. I think I found a couple of questions. I'm sorry. Okay, I think I missed. Can we say the personal Excel workbook is a developer tab getting open in the addition to the Excel front end? Yes, that's what I said. Develop. No, no. Personal Excel by default stored into the Excel start. Okay, let me record a macro so that you'll get to know how exactly personal works. Sir, when I copy paste something from one Excel, okay, that I'll look into the same little later. You please remind me before my session close. When choose this workbook, recording the activity in the same Excel. When choose this, Salvamutu, can you please elaborate on your question? I found a question that when choose this workbook, recording the activity in the same workbook. Yes, that's what I said. When you record, when you select this workbook, obviously the recording will be into the same workbook. So there's a question. Can we say the personal Excel workbook is the developer tab getting opened in addition to the Excel front end? No. Developer tab, you can get it. It's if it is not there already in your case, guys, you can go to the options, then you can go to the quick customize ribbon menu. Probably this might have unchecked. Please check this. Okay, so you'll get the developer tab. That there is no connection between the personal and developer tab. So there is one more question. Commands, how to disable the macro. How to disable a macro? You can just go to the macro settings. So you just go to the macro security, then enable all the macros. That's what I kept. You can just keep your macros disable VBA macros with notification. Okay, so that if any macro is there, it's going to give a notification and it's going to disable as simple as it. So in my case, I just made it everything run. Okay, so that is one thing. So there is one more question. Why is that name of the macro is number space is allowed? Why is that? The name of macro number space is allowed. There is no space allowed. You can't put a space as a macro name. I don't know where you found that. Where you found sample for. You can't keep a space. When you start giving a space, Excel will say it's not going to allow. See, it has not allowed. I didn't understand your question. Could you be elaborate? Yeah, I'll come back to your question again. So Sandeep said, can keystrokes be sent to the third-party application? You have to be elaborate on the question. I'm not sure what you are asking. Can keystrokes be sent to third-party application means? See, if you want to control the third-party application from Excel, is it the one you are saying that? Okay, your question has to be a little elaborate. You can unmute and you can speak. Sir, the instruction by you is C4 colon C1 colon C7 is not considered by macro. Where, Radha, can you speak where I did not consider?
Sir, exactly in this sheet, this 1 to 7 instructions you have written, so the macro would be considering or not? That was my query.
This has considered. See, when recorded a macro, it has considered this instruction, right? But this is after I stopped recording a macro, I have written, Radha.
Okay, sir, got
I
it.
have not written while recording the macro.
Yes, sir, got it.
Yeah. Mm. Will F8 help to highlight the red colored word relating to error? No, F8 is seen. Red color, while you are entering the program itself, red color item will come. Earlier, do you know, when I kept, let me tell you where red color will come. When I forget to put this one, when I enter, so I got a red color, I got a pop-up. It will not allow you until unless you uh, correct it. Okay, but F8 is to debug. It's going to show you step by step. Once you click run, all the line items will execute. But when I go to F8, it will execute one after other with your instruction. That's what the meaning of it. So, any other question? So let me go to the question. Answer that. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I missed the questions. Yeah, I'm just going a little slow. The question: what if I want same in column B or from selection? Surikant, could you please tell me your question is referring to what? I missed it actually. What if I want the same in column B from selection? What is the meaning of Surikant? You can unmute and you can speak. Guys, whoever having a question, you are free to speak. Surikant?
Hello.
Yeah, Surikant, go ahead.
Sir, I want to write this macro in column B. like as a company name is from column B and the amount in column C.
You can, that's possible. So you are saying that, Sharon, I want to write everything in the column B. So next time
Yes.
whenever you run, is it?
Yeah, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll talk about, when I talk about the relative cell reference, you will get to know. Okay. So I just hold the question with you, you will get the answer.
Okay.
So why is that no space allowed to the macro name? That's what, see, that's a rule. We need to follow the rule. Space is not allowed at all. You can't keep the space. You can keep the underscore. That's possible, but space is not allowed, because when you put a space, it's a disconnection from one word to the other word. Excel may think that these are that is a different item altogether. That's not possible. So there is no developer tab in my Excel. Kasturi, if you are using 2010 onwards, you can just go to the file tab, go to options, then you can go to the customize ribbon menu. Probably you might have need to uncheck this. It might have already unchecked. You need to check it. Otherwise, you can go to the general, or maybe somewhere advanced, somewhere you'll find here on the top itself. Okay, like this, you'll have something. Okay, you just spend some time. I'm sure you can find it in the options. I'm not sure which version it is. So let's go to the next question. Uh, when we name a macro, no space is allowed. Why is it? Can we say macro is a user-defined function like Lambda? No, macro, you can put whatever the name you want, but space is not allowed. That's a rule, Arun. Yeah. Okay, so fine. Now, let me cover a very important concept for all of you, is nothing but types of macro. Okay, types of macro. Relative reference macro, then absolute reference macro. Every macro is by default is a relative reference macro. Sorry, absolute reference macro. What is the meaning of it? Check it out. When I go here, when I even, let's say, let us see the code of sample 2. I just would like to see what is the code in the sample 2. Go to the sample 2. Yeah, why sample 2? Let's go here. Sample 4. Okay. Sample 4, I kept my cursor here. Now let me run the sample 4. Even if I kept my cursor here, Excel go back to the A1 cell and execute the code, because at the back end, it has remembered it as a A1, please select B1, please select A2, please select, and so on. Okay. This is an absolute reference, right? Yeah, this is an absolute reference. But when it comes to, yeah, this is an absolute reference. When it comes to the relative reference, let us see what we are going to do. I'll just go here. I'll record the same macro for you. Have a look. Are you finding here there is a button called use relative reference, right? Or else you can go to the developer tab. The same is even available here. First, sorry, this is not the one. This is the one. Click this. Once you click it, that means you are enabling the relative reference. Now let me record the macro. Now make it as a sample for R. Considering 4 is an absolute reference, this is a relative reference. Let me give a shortcut Control plus Shift plus E. Let me click Enter. Now you find here it has written a code here. Now what I'll be doing, I will just go here. I start writing a company. If I enter, what do you think Excel may write at the back end? Put in the chat box. What do you think Excel may write at the back end? Excel may write, you may be thinking that go to A1, select A1, write company, then go to A2. That's what you think. But no, because I have selected the relative reference, Excel simply writes at the back end active cell dot formula R1C1 write company. And also, because I moved one cell down, Excel is not saying go to A2 cell. But if you observe here, the line of the code here, Excel is saying from the active cell offset 1 comma 0. That means 1 means the first one row, 0 means in the same column. So from here move 1 row down. Now let me write A, not here, I'm sorry. Now let me write A. If I write A, if I enter, Excel will write selection, okay, active cell formula R1C1A. Now Excel is writing, let me write here B, enter, C, enter, D, enter, E, enter, F, enter. If you observe this code carefully, Excel nowhere mentioned go to A1 cell. Excel mentioned from the whatever the active cell you are in, please write company. Then from the active cell, move 1 row down. Then you please write A in that. Again, move 1 row down. B in that. Again, move 1 row down. C again, move 1 row down. D again, move 1 row down. E again, move 1 row down. F, then again, move 1 row down. But I don't want to write anything here. Now let me keep the cursor here. If I keep the cursor here, could you please tell me what do you think Excel may write? Excel will not write, just go to B1. Excel writes, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps back, 1 step towards right side. Okay, so -7, 1 it's going to write because last step it has removed. So -6 comma 1. That is what it has written. So from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then 1, that means next row. So from this active cell, it's going here. Now let me write amount here. Now if I write amount, again, it's going to write offset 1 comma 0. Now from here, let me write equal to and between 100 to 1000. Right? Enter. Then copy, paste special values. If you observe, copy, paste special values, everything has done the same. And also if you observe one more thing, it has given. I did copy, paste special values. Because I copied, still it is rolling around. Because it is still rolling, right? So that I did escape so that whatever that rolling symbol will disappear. So for that, there is a code at the back end, application dot cut copy mode. That means Excel is saying, Mr. Saran, that rolling symbol will only come in 2 instances when you cut it or when you copy it. That mode, I'm making it as a false. But when you make it as a true, that means still that will roll. That's the meaning of it. Okay. Everything having its own important. Now let me keep the cursor here. So what it has written, because I was actually here, and it went down, it has written copy paste special values. Now it has taken -1 comma 1. Okay, so from this cell, go 1 row up and 1 column left side. So now select these two, A1 column B1. So it has taken 2 cells together. Bold. So whatever the selection, keep the bold. Now let me keep the cursor in the A1 cell. That means it is selecting the active cell back. Now let me stop. Now the difference between earlier program and this program, it has nowhere mentioned about an absolute place. Everything is working around the active cell. So wherever you are from that position, everything is happening. What do you think if I just insert a sheet, if I if I run the macro for R, I know it will happen, there's no doubt. But friends, when I keep the cursor here, when I ask Excel to run for R, do you think this will work from here? It has to. Why? Because this is what my active cell. Let me select this, put F8, you will get to know how it is working. F8, F8, concentrate everyone. Now it's going to execute this, F8, wow, 1 step down. So if you observe the case, everywhere around, where is your cursor? I think we were asked the question about Mr. Saran, if I want to get the same data from B column, is it possible? It's possible now. Now you can do the shortcut Control Shift E. Wow, you can just go here, Control Shift E, Control Shift E, Control Shift E, Control Shift E. It just keep on giving you, okay, because I just went towards the right side when I'm trying to insert other items because there is no other column. It has given me error. Don't worry. Control Shift E, then go here. Control Shift E, then go here. Control Shift E, and so on. Any question, anyone? Till here? Because of the limited time, I'm trying to cover as much as possible. Okay. Any questions till here? Anyone? Okay. Let me look into the question and answer. Does the cells to be blank? What do you mean by that? Do the cells to be blank means? Kasturi, can you unmute and speak so that I can understand better? Kasturi, what do you mean by this question? I could not understand. Do the cells to be blank? Place in V1 and run. Of course, see, already there are values, right? Now Excel will replace this with a company and Excel will keep the values in the blank. Why there is a confusion in that? As simple as it. Because Excel least bother about other things. You ask Excel to do this, it does. Is your question answered, Kasturi? Yeah. Okay. Now let us see one bigger assignment. Save this file, close this file, open this file. What I'm going to do, let me start inserting Shift F11, Shift F11. Let me have maybe the 100 sheets. Okay. Now to select all the sheets, what is the shortcut? Select all. Then you can just go to A1 to A10. You can just put rank between 100 to 1000. Right? Copy paste special values so that the same data will be pasted in all 100 sheets. How many sheets are there? 100 sheets. Now my question is how to consolidate all the sheets data one below other. Concentrate. How to consolidate all the sheets data one below other. That means 100 sheets are there. Each sheet is having 10 cells. So 100 into 10, 1000 cells data must be there in the consolidated sheet. So don't first start recording the macro. First, you need to put on the paper the steps what you need to do in Excel. If you put the steps properly, your macro will be very simple. Now, first, what I need to write here, record macro. Step 1, first step, Control plus home. I'm going to use the shortcut. Why? Because if I'm going to anyway keep the relative reference, but if mistakenly if I keep the cursor here before running the macro, Excel gonna run the macro from here. So wherever my cursor is there, first I want to go to the first cell. So you can ask Excel to go to A1 cell, right? Now I wanna reach which place? This place. If you directly keep the cursor here, Excel also will take go 10 cells down. Even after if I copy paste the next sheet data here, that time I need to go to the 21st cell. But because you are keeping the cursor here, Excel right go 10 cells down. Even next time also it will go here. So to overcome the problem, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use Control plus down arrow. Because if I keep the cursor here, if I do Control down arrow, it will take to the last cell. So that becomes dynamic. If 20 items are there, it will take to the 20th cell. If 40 items are there, it will take to the 40th cell, and so on. Now let's go to the third one. Once I go there, is it the place where you're going to write the formula? No. I need to use one more down arrow because let me do all these steps. Control plus home, Control plus down arrow, one step down. My cell is here. Wonderful. But I need to copy the second sheet data and I should paste here. Is it correct or wrong? Yes. So I should go to the next sheet. So go to next sheet. How you can go? By using a shortcut Control plus paste down. Is it? So just go to the paste down. So why I'm using a shortcut but by not selecting this, Because the problem if I select this is Excel remembers the sheet name. But when I do control paste down, irrespective of the sheet name, whatever the next sheet it's going to take. But when I just select with the mouse, Excel always go to sheet 99. So every time it's going to copy sheet 99, paste it to here. Copy sheet 99, paste here. There's no purpose of that. Now, what is the problem here? Now, what is the next step? I went into the next sheet. Once I go to the next sheet, maybe my cursor also in the next sheet can be anywhere different. So I want to first go to A1. So that's nothing but Control plus Home. Friends, how great you are with Excel shortcuts, that much great macros you can build, as simple as it. So let me just go here, Control V. Okay, so let me just write here, go to A1 cell very quickly. Then go here, go to downside last cell in the range, Then go one cell down. Then go to A1 cell. So go to A1 cell. Right. So once I go here, I go to the first cell, but I want to select this entire data, right? You can't simply select with the mouse, right? Because with the mouse, if I select, it will only select 10 cells. Who knows? Maybe later it may be another sheet, it may be 20 cells, 30 cells. So I'm going to use a shortcut, Control plus Shift plus down arrow. Now you can understand how important the shortcuts are. Select the range from A1 till last cell downside. Okay, so when I just go here, keep the cursor here, Control Shift down arrow. So when you do the Control Shift down arrow, so automatically it has taken the copy. So just go here, Control Shift down arrow. So Control C, that is what I need to do the next step. So Control plus C. I'm not recording now. I'm just writing the steps. Now you copy this. So once I go here, I copy this. Now once I copy where I need to paste, I should go back. So I just go to the 8th step, Control plus paste up, because I need to go to the previous sheet. Go to previous sheet. Go to previous sheet. Now once I copied this, if I go to the previous sheet, already my cursor was here before going here, right? Wherever your cursor you have to paste. So my 9th step is Control plus V. You need not to select because already your cursor was there. So just is paste, right? Once you paste, is it done? No. Why? If you stop recording the macro, every time Excel will go to the sheet and copy and paste. So once this is over, unless I delete this sheet, this will never be the second sheet. So now what I need to do, I should go to the next sheet again. So Control paste down. So that's nothing but 10th one. Then once I go here, I should delete the sheet. So Alt comma E comma L is the shortcut. So delete the sheet. Otherwise, you can even right click, or you don't right click here because without selecting, you can't right click any of the cell. Let's say I want to right click here. It's not possible. First, Excel will select this, then right click. When Excel select, Excel remembers that specifically. So what I'm going to do, if you are into here, you can go to the home tab. You can go to delete. Then you can simply delete the sheet. Don't go with the right click on the mouse on the sheet tab, because if you go with the right click on the sheet tab, then Excel remembers your sheet name. How you reshuffle the data in descending order? I did not reshuffle the data in descending order. Rather, what is your question? I didn't understand.
Sir, actually, I was asking that the sheet tabs were from 1 to 100, but now it's from
Rather,
100.
whenever you insert a sheet, always your new sheet will come before the active sheet, but not the active sheet. So it was only one, the sheet number. When I inserted, 2 came before 1, 3 came before 2, 4 came before 3, and so on. That is by default.
Okay, sir.
Got my point, rather?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Now you need to delete this. So either you can go to the home tab and click delete sheet. You can do this. But the problem is once you are trying to delete the sheet, there is a pop-up which will come. So you have to enter that. So you must also tell to the Excel, then click enter. This is to delete the sheet. To uh, okay, okay, to delete sheet pop-up. Okay, so now once you delete this, have you seen any time if 10 is there? Let me insert a sheet, shift plus F11. If I delete, okay, let me also insert one more sheet after this. You must be very careful. If I delete this sheet, once I click delete, do you think next sheet will be selected or previous sheet will be selected? Once I click OK, it will be selected the next sheet. So in the same way, if I delete this sheet, it's going to select this sheet 98, right? So what will happen? Because now I am into sheet 98, I have to go back. So I need to do control plus space up. So this is the 13th step. Now I'm back to the sheet. Now next one, control plus home. I'll go here, I'll do control down arrow and so on. Do you think these steps are correct? Then stop recording. Then start recording here. Do you think these steps are correct? Can I follow these steps so that I can record all the, I can append all the macros together? Have a look. Now I'll go to the developer tab or else go to the view tab. I can go to use relative reference. It's already got selected. Record the macro. This macro name is console. Let me have the shortcut of this macro, control shift Q. Now let me click OK. First step is control home. Next step, control down arrow. Next step, one cell down. Next step, control is up. Next one, control home. Next one, control shift down arrow. Next one, control plus C. Next one, control plus space up. Next one, ninth step, control plus V. Next one, go to the next sheet. Next one, delete this sheet. Next one, enter this. Next one, go to the previous sheet. Next one, stop. Stop recording. Wow. Now if you observe, two sheets data is here. One is already there, second one I have copy pasted. Now if I do control shift Q, do you think it will happen automatically? Yes. But friends, let me tell you, the pop-up messages will not happen automatically until unless you click enter. Right? Enter, no problem. Control shift Q, control shift Q, control shift Q, control shift Q. I'm just doing a little faster. See, besides cell is 90, that means 10 cells got selected. So do you think 100 cells will be there if I control down arrow? Yes. Wow. All 10 sheets got selected and copy pasted there by deleting the next sheet. As long as the steps are accurate, you will never go wrong. Now, but Saran, I may need to do control shift Q, enter, 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 enter. Not required. There is a concept in Excel called loop. There is a concept in the programming called loop. What is this concept? Before stopping me the macro, I will put one more step here. You know what is the step I'm going to give here? Go to step 1. As I said, Excel go to a sequential order in the steps. First, Excel will do this step, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, 13th. After 13th, what Excel does, you know, Excel will go to this sheet, right? Then again it will run. Then Excel will go to this. Again it will run. Then Excel will go to this. Again it will run, and so on. So until unless it finds all the sheets, or until unless it finds the error, it will continue the looping. Wow, how beautiful this is. But how to make this as a looping? No problem. We'll record one more macro. You will get to know. Console. Now let me do loop L, console L. Control shift R is the shortcut. Now let me record the macro. No problem. Control plus home. Control down arrow. control one step down, control page down, control home, control shift down arrow, control C, control page app. Already my cursor is here, control V. Then go to the next sheet, delete the sheet, enter, then go to the previous sheet. Ideally, I should stop because my steps are over. But before stopping, you know the step what I'm going to do? I want to tell to the Excel, go to the step one. Normally, to go to the first step, what you do, you will run the same macro, right? So what is the shortcut I have allocated for this macro? Control Shift Q. Let me do the same thing again. Control Shift Q. Enter. Now, let me stop. Wow. Wow. Now let us compare the coding. If you ask me, there is no difference between the coding, okay, first one and second one, except only one line item. Check it out. I'll just go to the modules. In this, I've given a coding. So this is console 1 and this is console 2. Console 1, console 2, exactly same. Check it out. Every line by line is same. But in the console 2, this is the extra one it has written. You know what it has written? Application dot run. Which application it has to run? Book one exclamation mark console L. What is console L? The same macro. That means Excel will go to this, run it, go to this, run it. How beautiful it is. When I start debugging it, you will get to know. Everyone, please have a look. Let me put a fate. Let me put a fate. Go to the first cell, control down arrow, go to one step down, go to the next sheet, go to the first cell, control shift down arrow, copy this, go to the previous sheet, paste here, go to the next sheet, delete the sheet, pop-up is coming. You have to manually enter, no problem. Then go to F8, that means go to the next last run. Now let us see how Excel will execute this. When I click this, when I'm asking Excel to run book one console one, it will go to the back. So when I keep on pressing this, it will go to the back. When I keep on pressing this, it will go to the back. But out of this still entire automation, what is the irritation part, you know? The irritation part is nothing but, let me stop first of all. This macro, this is the button for stop, this is the button for play. Let me click stop. The irritation part is you need to keep on pressing enter. But I don't want even that activity I should do. If that is the case, you know, before deletion, you do one thing. Okay, there is a small code application dot display alerts. I don't want to display. So false. These are all pop-ups, we call it as a display alert. But always do one thing. When you disable it, it's always a good habit to enable, because we are not sure. In this case, it's fine. I know that there is no other pop-up will come. Maybe when you look into a bigger program, maybe at one point of time pop-up should not come, but other point of time pop-up has to come. So once your desired result came, then you can make it back. So what I'm saying, before deletion of the sheet, I'm asking Excel to display all the alerts false. That means don't display. Even if it is appearing, don't display. Then once it is done, then you can activate that. Once you go back and coming here, again stops, activate. So anyway, the pop-ups will not come. Let me go here. Now if I start doing control shift Q, do you think everything will happen automatically? Not control shift Q, it's control shift R. Do you have a confidence that it will work? Have a look. As long as your procedure is correct, as long as your basics are strong, no matter whatever the assignment, you will get the result with accurate answer. Yeah, because 100 sheets are there, it takes little time, don't worry, because I'm recording. If it is not recording, maybe if it is writing a VBA code, this entire program can be written in a very simple way without even deleting the sheets. But don't worry, it's taking a little time. But ideally, it should not. Ideally, it should not. It will not even take more than 1 minute to execute this entire thing. The problem with this Excel is, since morning I'm trying to work with so many apps. Because of the bank audit season, I'm planning to release a couple of tools for the chartered accountant. So it's taking a little time. Let it work. Let it work. You may be thinking it not work. It will absolutely work. I don't know why it is taking time. Ideally, it should not. It should not. No problem. Let us wait for another 1 minute. I request everyone, if you want to seriously learn the macro, whatever I have covered today, then you can elaborate on all these aspects. You can just take more examples. You can just see, you can only learn by making your hands dirty. Okay, without practicing, without thinking out of the box, without trying something new, it's like impossible. Oh my God, I don't know why it is taking a lot of time. So, oh, see, okay, I have not seen this pop-up. Out of stack space. You know what is a stack space? See, this pop-up message came earlier, but I did not do alt tab. That's the reason. Why this is, whenever you run the macro, it is doing so many steps, right? It remembers all the steps and stored in the cache memory at the back. So when the cache memory is full, that we call it as a stack space, then you will get a message called out of stack space. But no problem. You can just click enter and you can ask Excel to run again so that it does the same thing. So Control Shift again, let me do R. Let me do Control Shift R. So remaining steps it does for you. No problem. Now this error is different. Now this is a wrong error. You know why? Excel is saying, I said once you delete it, because only 2 sheets are there, Excel came back. But we thought Excel go toward the right side. Then I used a last step as go to the previous step. Because only one sheet is there. Excel is saying, Sharon, where is the previous sheet? Now, if you go home, if you do control down arrow, absolutely all the 100 sheets got added one below other. Right? So this is the way you can automate the job while recording. But if you want to start writing your own code, then you need to see. Basically, even while I write the code myself, also most of the code I recorded that particular piece because I'm not sure some of the cases what code I need to write. Instead of me writing again, I'll simply record only that piece. I'll copy it and paste over there so that I can customize my own code. So in fact, today, if you want to observe, because I'm building, as I said, a small tool for the chartered accountants for bank audit. I started building a small tool, small things I'm keeping together. So if you go here, central statutory auditors list is one tab I want to keep in the current year in my sheet. So when I just go here, statutory central SCA. So if I go to the developer tab, go to the visual basic, this is the small line of the code I have written. It's very simple. Application.screen updating means I don't want the preview must happen when it is doing it. So on error resume next, that means when there is an error, then you can go to the next. These all are VBA related codes. Then I've written a sheets.add where you want to add a sheet before the first sheet. Okay, so this is the index number of the sheet. So out of all the sheets, first sheet please add. What is that sheet name? You want to keep it CSA list. Okay, then go to the range A1, then you can write central statutory auditors list for financial year 2021. Then you can select it, which is a bold true, then which is a italic true, which is a underline true. Then again, you can take it A3, SCA. Do you want to see this, how it is happening? Let me do F4 so that you can understand. Sorry, F8. Let me do F8, 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 F8. Now it's going to insert a sheet. Wow. Now it's going to rename it. Wow. Now it's going to give me central statutory auditors list 2021. It's going to give me bold. It's going to give me italic. It's going to give me underline. Now it has given SN serial number, central statutory auditor. Then you can find A, Number one, serial 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is only for one bank I'm doing it. So I've kept all the firm names. Then you can just do auto fit. Selection.columns.autofit is the code. Then you can just go to the borders. I want to give the end border. So see, almost like that. Over. So I'm planning to make small tools for the chartered accountants for Union Bank, or maybe Andhra Bank is anyway now mixed with Union Bank, SBI and so on. Last time I have, this is basically the way you can make the add-in. So you can just go to the Excel add-in. Let's say just for the example, friends. Let me take this. Okay, it's not there. I'm going to delete from the list. Okay, that's fine. Now this is also not there. This, okay, let me just go here. If I click OK, this is an add-in, right? Because while occurring this workbook comes out, okay. So because I was running the other one, it is saying first you stop this. Okay, so okay, now fine. Now I finding here because I enabled this Andhra Bank, now I got an extra tab. This tab is Excelism for CA. Friends, if you want to go to this level, you must be master in VBA. So it's not that easy to just know in half an hour, 40-minute session how to get the tabs, how to give the icons and so on. This everything can be customized. This tool is such a way, okay, once we click this, then can't run the macro intro message. The macro may not be available in this Excel workbook or so on. So you can just start looking into this. Okay, so once I click this, it will ask you to browse the button just to tell you, okay, how great macros you can do it. That is what just my point is. Now what I do, let me just go here. Do you want me to save this macro file of consolidation? Let me do it. Console macro. Yeah, now I'll just go to this. I can just go to visual plans. Let's go to the 23rd session. Now I can have console macro. This has to be .xlsm. Now close this. Now close this. Without saving. Okay, just let me stop sharing the screen. I'll just show you quickly one thing. Okay, let me remove the password of my tool so that exactly you will know what I'm doing. Let me open this file. Yeah, now I just go to now I just one second. I'm just trying to see at the back end. Is there a way I can completely unlock something and I can show it to you? I think I have stopped sharing the screen. See, let me go here. Let me go to enter. Then save it. This. Save this. Yeah. Let's close this. Close this. Yeah. I think it works now. Have a look. And now, friends, let me share the screen with you all. Now let me open any of the Excel file. Concentrate everyone. Now let me open this. Let me load. Let me go to the developer tab. I want to load the add-in which I built for me. Then I want to take Andhra Bank 4. It's not there, is it? Okay, let me browse the Andhra Bank one that is there on my desktop. Automation tools, Andhra Bank statutory branch audit, Andhra Bank 4.0. Let me click OK. Now, wow, you got an Excelism for CA. Then once I click this, there's a message which I built for myself. There's a user form and a message box. Welcome to Excelism. This tool is developed by CS Charan Kumar. The add-in meant for Andhra Bank Statutory Branch Auditor. This is valid till 30th June, and you can visit for latest tool for CS. Then we are 12 by 5. I'll tell you just how complex the files are when it comes to the Excel, when it comes to the bank audit. See, the file actually one loan runs into these many rows. How complex this file is looking like, right? Check it out. What I'm going to do now, I'll just take this. Please download the latest version visiting expired. Oh my God, 1 second. Just give me 1 second. I think, okay. See, why it is giving the expired, how Excel knows that it got expired? Because I have used a date condition. If the date of the calendar is below 30th of June, then it is going to allow, otherwise it may escape. Okay, just give me 1 minute. Let me quickly change that code very quickly. Okay, then you can understand. Okay. Instead of 2020, let me keep it as a 2021. 2 minutes, please bear with me. I'm just trying to tell you how great tools you can make it if you know the Excel, if you know the VBA. Let me tell you, I am also not expert in the VBA. Okay, this all I am doing for the benefit of the numbers, as well as because I have the passion to learn. Okay, even I'm not expert. Let this file get open. It's just getting opened at the backend. I'm just trying to change the code at the backend. I just want to demonstrate you how it happened really. Yeah, there's a question, it seems. One second. Can you please, okay, I think there are many things which I missed, it seems. Sir, how to reshuffle the sheet? I think I answered. If we have to delete a sheet in between or add a new one, should we have to re-record or rewrite the program all again? Not required. As I said, Arun, if you know programming, if you start looking into the program, since you know at the back end the language, you can go on in between, you can just fit it. What tools for bank audit can you send URL of your program of above? Kasturi, you can just Google YouTube with my name. I'm sure you'll find n number of videos on bank audit. Is stack space like Spiller? No, Arun, don't compare. Stack space is a cache memory basically. Okay, so it's spill error is something which is already occupied. Can you please demonstrate the way we can convert the multiple rows belongs to the one borrower into one row so that it will be a great benefit? Kasturi, you please go to YouTube, search with my name, CS Saran Kumar, the bank audit. I'm sure you'll find SARC a video on that. I have explained in detail CCDP file and DR12Y file conversion into Excel. Okay, I'm just trying to open this file. I don't know why it's taking a lot of time. Okay, let this open. Let this open. Just bear with me for 2 minutes. I'm just trying to open this file. I don't know. Still, it's taking a lot of time. Yeah, 1 second. Just another 1 minute. Yeah, so now let me go here. Now I just changed the backend code that it is valid till 30th June. Now when I click this, what it is asking me to do, you said me please go to the file and select the BR12Y, whatever I have shown you earlier. Now I can just go to the original files. I can select the BR12Y TL. So once I double click this, wow, it does the entire process. It does the text column and it just leave you after the records. Now let me have not only that, I want to take the OD also. Let me take the OD file. Let me just double click this. So once I click OK, it's gonna does the entire job. So once I just go here, I want to take the demand loans and also I want to take a loan against deposits. Yeah, 2,200 loans are there. Demand loans, a loan against deposits, YBL, loan against deposit LAD. See that. Okay, so you can understand now how quick it has done. Otherwise, to do this activity for you, it will take a lot of time. Okay, this I actually kept in the SBI tool, not here. Okay, but this year I'm going to keep little analysis on this and reconciliation on this and so on. Now you understood the power of Excel. Okay, so start practicing. There's no way, there's no question that you can't learn this. You can absolutely learn this. There is no doubt. But you know, it takes little time. You need to understand the basics and so on. Okay, so that's the way it works. Yeah. Any question? Anyone? I was just talking about questions. Yeah. Yeah. Sir, in 2 days back, I attended your bank audit program conducted by SARC. The above was explained. Ultimately, sir, this is long-run procedures can be solved by math. Yes, yes, yes. That's all. Yeah. Thank you so much. Don't miss next week's session. Going to be very important. The last session, basically 24th, because 25th is basically a conclusion. So maybe vote of thanks, or maybe I may give you a couple of tips and trips on the last week. But next week, I'm going to show you the introduction to the Power Query. Of course, whatever I've shown you, all even with respect to the bank audit, you can do everything in the Power Query also. Okay, so Power Query is much more amazing than the macros. So I request you don't miss next session. Thank you so much. Bye bye.